Good morning. On this wintry day, as people have problems with freezing batteries and freezing pipes and such, we are punting. If you notice things a little different, and I trust everybody help themselves to an order of service. My name is not Charlie, my name is Betsy, and Charlie is one who has frozen pipes and unable to be here today. Our service leader today is our very own Reverend Dr. Lori Whittemore. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Saco and Biddeford. This service is being live streamed and recorded for those joining us on YouTube. We encourage you to have a candle of chalice to light when we light ours here in a few moments. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we are glad that you are here with us today. The theme for the month of January is resistance. We invite you to contemplate this theme with us today and carry it into your daily life when you leave here. Let us welcome the youngest members here today. May we recognize their noises and rustlings as our next generation participates in worship with us. We commit to be co-stewards of this unceded ancestral land of the Wabanaki Confederation and to work toward a world that is just and thriving for the whole of the web of life. We invite you to take home the order of service for information and announcements, or you may leave it for recycling as you exit the sanctuary. Please silence your cell phone. There will be a social hour in the parish hall after the service. Please join us for conversation and refreshments. Did you have other announcements to make?
Jeez, I think I did, but can I?
Well, you can interject whenever. We're punting today.
We're punting today. I can't remember. I was going to say something.
So it's the singing bowl.
Please join me in the words for lighting our chalice. This is our sacred promise to gather together in peace, to seek truth in love, to serve human need, so that all shall grow in harmony with the divine. Confronting is the word for the day. As many of you know, I guess this is where I'll start it. The city of Saco called me Thursday afternoon at 3 and said, "You've done a warming center in the past. Are you doing one?" We're not doing one. And Seeds of Hope was at capacity at 60 people. There's 140 encampments. Would you? And I said, I can't imagine. We had told the police that we could provide food or we could provide people over at the transit station. That was our plan. So we aren't going to do that here. And they're like, well, we're not opening one. So I went to bed, I went home, I went to bed, I woke up in the morning in tears and I said, we have a building. We have heat. Of course we're going to open our doors. But I called Randa, God bless Randa, she's here, and she's like, I'm going to talk to the board, and the board just rose to the occasion. So at 9 or 10 on Friday, we said we will open our doors. And it was amazing. And I called the city and they said, oh, well, we decided we're going to open the transit center. And so that is for coffee hour and a lot of words I have about that. But at any rate, we opened and mobilized and got food and staffed or had hospitality offered by many of our folks here. And people from the Kennebunk UU Church came to help. From First Parish Portland came to help. A young lady from the York County Community College came over because she could stay up all night. And it was miraculous and it was fun. And I wanted to start with that for opening words because I've had about 3 hours of sleep in the last 2 days. So if nothing I say makes sense, just roll with it, okay? The announcement, I had a couple of announcements. One is that Nikki, who was special music, was here overnight. She went to leave and her car battery had died. My husband drove her home and her pipes had frozen. So she said, I don't think I'm coming today. And I said, I think that's a good idea. So anybody who wants to make special music, please feel free. Brian and I were going to sing Bohemian Rhapsody, but he says we're not going to. So that's not going to happen. So good for you. Good for you. So that's that. We have a new member, informational coffee and questions after church. I'm looking forward to talking to folks who really want to join, and I do tell you, you do really want to join this community. We are amazing people here, and even if you haven't signed our book, you're already part of our family anyway, but come and see Adit and I and anybody else who shows up and we'll talk. In 2 weeks, we're having a super Sunday and volunteer celebration. And we have to celebrate our volunteers because they just show up and they're wonderful. So that's happening on February 8th. Gosh, I can't remember. I'll send you all an e-blast if I remember what I'm supposed to say. How's that sound? Okay. All right, so let's get down to business. So there comes a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes unmistakable, when conscience taps us on the shoulder and says, this is the time. This is the place. You can't stay seated anymore. Resistance doesn't always begin with a march, a vote, a megaphone. Sometimes it begins with simply standing up. Simply standing. Standing in our truth, standing in love, standing next to one another, but standing, just not sitting there. Resistance is a way that we show our love. And today we gather, last night, the night before, we gather to remember that resistance is not one single act. It's a practice. It's a practice of getting up, of cleaning restrooms here, of cooking meals, of bringing soup, of making coffee. It's a practice because when we join together as a community, we resist. It's a way of living, a way of rising up, stepping into the work that love demands. And so this morning, you are resisting together. You have joined, you have stand, and there will be more standing during the service. So let us join our hearts and our souls and our minds together to make this space holy and safe and warm. And let's enjoy our time together this morning. And now, as you are willing and able, please stand and join me in singing "Where is Our Holy Church?" All right, now's the time in the service where we turn and greet our neighbors. In the spirit of punting, Patrick's going to play the piano this morning, so now we have special music, and thanks to Patrick.
Can you hear me? Is this on? Okay. Thank you, Ryan. This is the time in our service when we invite people to share what is in their hearts, whether it is great joy or deep sorrow. It is not a time for announcements or political statements. If you wish, please come forward to light a candle, tell us your name if you'd like, and share your joy or sorrow with us if you choose to. Please line up on the organ side of the church, light your candle, come to the mic to share, and go back to your seat via the other side. This way and that way. Okay.
Good morning, my name is Randa. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I light a candle for the resistors, for people who are standing up to ICE. And sometimes the way we stand up for ICE is to help the individual families who are afraid to come out of their homes, and just learning how to do that, and may we find our place.
Hi, I'm Matt. And all the difficulties that we face today in the world, there's always a glimmer of hope and light and happiness, and that is my happiness, is that my grandson turned 5 today, and we celebrated his birthday yesterday, and it was amazingly fun. So that's our light, our smiling grandson.
Hi everyone, I'm Haley. I lit a candle of remembrance today for my family's dog, Coda. We had to put him down a few days ago. He lived a wonderful 16 years. He was a black lab, so that's a really long time. But I'm happy that he got to move on in peace and surrounded by the people who love him. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Fred, and I'll confine myself to the comments about sorrow and refrain from any direct political statements. And I really have a deep sorrow for Alex Preddy and for Renee Good, two people who were apparently trying to express their own feelings and values and thoughts in resisting what they thought was an indignity to all of us. And I think about their families. I think about people that they were involved with. And I can only appreciate and respect what they did as a way of trying to save some semblance of dignity for people who have opinions that run contrary to the current administration. I think they did us all a service, and I'm deeply sad for how the experience ended up for them. Thank you.
My name is Judy, and similar to Fred and probably many others here too, my sorrow is what's happening in our country, the inhumanity of what's happening. And my joy is that I'm part of this community and that we're doing something to try and change that, or at least take care of the people who are being most harmed by what's going on. And coming here renews my sense of hope, and I'm very grateful for that.
Hi, I wasn't sure I was going to make it today. This week was one of the hardest of my life and of my husband's life. He's now moved to the Maine Veterans Home in Scarborough, and it's a very good place, and it's going to be fine. There's a hole right here. I'm going to make it, but it's really hard right now.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I just wanted to express a joy. I know things are tough in the world, and it's cold weather, and the oncoming storm can be very difficult for people. So I just want to say that I'm trying to see the positive in it and embrace winter and everything that it brings, and appreciate the beauty that a storm can bring to this world and the change, and to also appreciate the power of nature and the resilience of the plants, animals, and the human beings to endure through that. So thank you.
Morning, everybody. My higher power has ways of working with me that I have no idea what he's planning. Like this morning, I was not planning to play the piano. That was not in my agenda. And here I am doing it. So, you know, I realize that for me, music is a healing thing. When I hear music or when I play music, even everything is going out in the world as it is, when I get music, it's healing. So when I heard that, you know, we didn't have special music. Something in my heart just said, you can do this. Just do it. Don't worry about it. So here I am doing it. Piano is not my masterpiece. Keyboard is. They are different. So, but here I am, and then I'll do another one at the end here. And I'll pray about it to see what my higher power has in store for you. Thank you.
Patrick, thank you for punting with the rest of us. Today is my first time ever doing this on the QT. So thank you all for your patience and our maybe little goof-ups. I light one last candle for all the joys and concerns that remain in our hearts and unspoken.
Please sit up straight, put your feet on the floor, take a deep breath together. Hear these words. Gracious Spirit, source of all creation, energy, light, and love that brings us together this morning. I start this time in gratitude for the community, for the building that gives us the space to be together and sit in the paradox that is life. Our trust and our togetherness allows us to bring our deepest sorrows, our losses. It also allows us and invites us to bring our joys, and we share those together, and it enriches us as people face major life transitions, losses, surgeries, frozen pipes. And this space is holy, and while we have tried for a long time to figure out how to separate political statements from joys and concerns, it is no longer possible to do that. Spirituality is political, and politics is spiritual. The decisions we make, the votes we do, how we choose to live our lives, how we treat our neighbors, who we love, who we take care of. It's just a deep sense of who we are as humans. And it's really hard to be human right now. And so I invite into this space all light, all joy, all strength, all courage, all peace, all wisdom. I invite it to descend upon us right now. We need it. And we need to hold it for one another, because without our peace and joy and without our community, we will not rise to the occasion. Division is one of the greatest tools of oppression, and we will not be divided. When we get angry here, that's okay. When we are joyful here, it's okay. If we're not all on the same page, that's okay, because we're together in it. And so I say, bring your joy and your sorrow and your fear. Light the candles. Raise your voices. We're finding ways to stand up and support each other in standing up if we can't be the ones to do so. And so, for grace and spirit and joy and the strength to stand, whether that's in reality or metaphorically, I give thanks this morning. and so be it.
This morning's reading is The Monk Who Would Not Stay Seated. There was once a young monk named Tenzin who lived in a mountain monastery. Every morning, the monks would gather in the meditation hall to sit in perfect stillness. Tenzin loved meditation, loved the quiet, loved the focus, loved doing it, quote, right. He sat straighter than anyone, breathed more evenly, and never moved an inch. One morning, as they sat in deep silence, Tenzin heard a sound outside the hall. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Yelp! He tried to ignore it. Scratch, yelp! He whispered to himself, "Stay in your seat, stillness is the path." But the sound grew sharper, full of fear. Finally, Tenzin cracked one eye open and saw through the doorway a small dog caught in a thorn bush, struggling wildly. He looked at the other monks. No one moved. He thought, surely the Zen thing to do is remain still. Surely someone wiser will help. But no one did. Something in Tenzin's heart began to ache. He stood up, breaking the perfect silence, and rushed out to free the little dog. The thorns scratched his hands, but he kept working until the animal wiggled free and ran off down the path, tail wagging. Tenzin walked back into the meditation hall, his robe dusty, his palms bleeding. He bowed apologetically to the abbot. "I'm sorry I disturbed the practice," he whispered. But the abbot only smiled. "Tenzin," he said, "you did not disturb the practice." He held up Tenzin's scratched palms. "Today, this was your practice." The abbot continued, "There is a time for sitting still and a time for standing up. Wisdom is knowing which moment you are in. Compassion sometimes asks us to stay on the cushion, and sometimes compassion asks us to get off the cushion before anyone else even notices the yelp." Tenzin bowed again, this time with deeper understanding, and from that day on, he meditated faithfully. But he never believed that staying in his seat was the only way to awaken. This time, stand as you are willing and able for hymn number 10.
Now let's sit. We needed the fourth verse, and I just have to say it makes me feel so good because I'm not the only one. Yeah, so I actually rewrote this 3 times, and then even last night overnight I was trying to rewrite it as everything just shifted. So I don't even know if it makes sense. And Ben, I've got my eyes on you, and I'm sorry to single you out, but if your head bobs, I'll know to shut up, so that's good. You can all thank Ben for that, by the way. So I want to begin by saying that I know how exhausting life can feel. And I wrote those words a long time ago, but now I really know how exhausting life can feel right now. The world is so heavy. The news is relentless, and our hearts are tired. Many people are overwhelmed. Unimaginable things are happening, and not even just out there. They're happening here. They're happening for us. We have friends. We have relatives who are immigrants or related to immigrants. We have people who want us to help walk them to school, and we're finding our way right now. But sitting in our seats, literally and metaphorically, feels like self-preservation. We've worked really hard here to cultivate safe community and loving community and support one another when all of this is hard. And sometimes it feels like that is our resistance, and it is our resistance sometimes. Just like music is resistance, joy and relationship is resistance. Self-care is important, care for each other is important. But self-care and joy, we definitely need to hold on to that, but that alone is empty. It's empty unless we turn our spirituality into something more. So the call to not stay in our seats is also not about frantic movement or constant activism. It's about refusing to be immobilized by despair when despair is staring us in the face. It's about staying spiritually awake when that's a painful thing. When the world wants us to become numb. It's about choosing compassion over indifference and courage over silence. And it is especially about asking the question, who is suffering right now? And who can't we ignore? Right now, our nation, thousands of people live under the daily threat of ICE raids, detainments, deportations, even putting their life in jeopardy from filming it or confronting it every day now. In the Twin Cities and across the country, Operation Metro Surge is literally targeting thousands of people. Operation Catch of the Day. No, please bring it. It's unconscionable that our friends and neighbors are being terrorized right now. The kids aren't going to school. The teachers are calling and saying, can you bring food to these houses? Because the kids can't get their backpacks to eat over the weekend. That's what our life is now. And at the same time, in almost every city, homelessness is rising. We've talked about that here. We're actually coming together to think about what we can do about that. Families are sleeping in tents. Elders are sleeping in cars. LGBTQ youth have been severed from support systems. Families are turning them out. Immigrants and asylum seekers, choosing between deportation and getting food. Think about that in this country. And none of these are separate issues, by the way. They are symptoms of the same spiritual illness, a society that has forgotten the sacred worth and dignity of each person. It's systematic oppressors that would separate us. Separating us is oppression. They would discourage us from looking up or looking at what is happening right now. And they certainly discourage us from speaking truth to power. And so those things we must never turn away from. Not when families fear losing one another to a knock at the door. Not when the unhoused are criminalized for crime of trying to survive. Not when dignity itself is endangered. It's tempting to stay seated, and sometimes we have to. We have other obligations. We have our own tragedies happening and our own challenges, and our pipes are freezing and our parents are aging. But it can't be easy, or it can be easy to say, I don't know enough. I'm not political. I don't get this. I can't fix it. I'm tired. I'm afraid. I've got my own challenges. I don't know where to start. And boy, doesn't it feel like that, right? And those who feel that way, those are real feelings, and I want to honor them. You all got your own stuff, right? I got my own stuff, and it's hard. And I never want to put this on you as your battle. And it's not yours alone. But no spiritual tradition worth its salt asks people to burn themselves out or pretend they have limitless energy. I'm looking in the mirror at that one. And it also doesn't ask them to feel constant fear or pain for all they witness, because that doesn't help anyone either. But don't stay in your seats does not mean everyone must rush out into the streets or become full-time activists. It means really that we cannot allow the world's pain to stop our hearts from being open. We can't allow the world's pain to numb us. It means refusing. Standing up means refusing to look away from suffering even when it hurts. It means refusing to accept cruelty is normal, because it's not. It means refusing to believe that some lives matters less than others, because they don't. Sitting still is not just a physical posture, it is a spiritual one. And standing up is not just a physical posture. And I don't mean to exclude when I use the expression standing up, but it's a spiritual posture. Our faith, our Unitarian Universalist tradition, rejects the posture of sitting still. We believe in a theology, an understanding of the world that includes the inherent worth and dignity of all people. We believe that nobody is disposable. We believe that we belong to one another. We're responsible for one another. If one person freezes on the streets, we all feel that chill. And so we can't stay seated. I can only envision the plans that are being made right now for people from other countries who have come seeking asylum or who are just come to immigrate and done it legally. I can't imagine the plans that they are thinking about. What are they telling their kids? If mom is taken, go to your neighbor across the hall. If papa doesn't come home, call this number. By the way, we're not leaving the house to get groceries because they might take us. I was going to say, before things got really real in Maine, I was going to say some of these things and say this should break your heart. But our hearts are broken. They're broken right open. And we have to let that be. We have to stand together with broken hearts, because if they're not broken, we're not paying attention, right? We have to stay awake even when it hurts, because they want us to go to sleep. No child should have to carry that fear on their way to school. No neighbor should have to be the one to take the phone call. People who have lived here for decades, built lives, paid taxes, raised families are being taken without the courtesy of a phone call. No due process. Due process isn't a privilege, it's in our Constitution. Officers using excessive force, violence for no reason. This is not who we are called to be. Our faith demands more, that we speak up for this, that we witness it, that we don't look away, that we yell and are angry together, that we cry together, but we can't look away. And though it feels easier to stay seated and sometimes just do the routine things that we always do, and this take care of ourselves in an insulated way, that's not okay anymore. Lighting a candle for the sadness for the 2 people who were killed, that's what we're called to do. And then there's the crisis of homelessness. A crisis both visible and invisible. And invisible a lot for people in Saco, because a lot of what's happening is happening in Biddeford, even though it's impacting both cities. We don't see the tents. We don't see the people huddling outside the libraries. Many of us don't. We don't know where the people go when the shelters are full. Seeds of Peace has a capacity, Seeds of Hope, sorry, has a capacity of 40 for overnight warming. They would have accepted up to 60, but there were 140 people last census count that are living outside, comprised of 12, part of that is comprised of 12 families, some with kids under 16 living in tents in our city. We can't look away. And it's not a moral failing of the folks who are unhoused. They're not easy people. It's not black and white. They won't come in here and be grateful, most likely. They won't be easy customers. They won't be safe even. But we can't blame them for that. This is not their economic failure. And it's a spiritual failure when we walk past them and not see them, but it's also a spiritual failure when we don't roll up our sleeves and say, what can we do? I know we can't fix this whole thing, but what can we do? Were you warm and safe and dry last night? Did you have a meal? You might have frozen pipes, but one of us will come over. Just, call Patrick. He's the heat czar. He'll come in a heartbeat. He's come several times when I've called him this week for many things. That's what being in community means, right? We have one another. So does this mean we can or should romanticize helping people? We're not white saviors, right? Like, we're not going to swoop in and fix it. But that doesn't mean we don't have a part. Working face to face in these communities is hard, and sometimes it's dangerous and it's frustrating when choices made seem unhelpful. You know, we talk about, it's interesting, we're making kits. Oh, that was another announcement. I'll say that at the end. We're making kits today. You know, we put together kits, right? And we use plastic bags, and it's part of our policy not to use single-use plastic. So we're challenged with our values. And then we have to say, you know what? Getting a peanut butter sandwich in somebody's hands who's starving feels like a better choice right now. And so we have to have those conversations and make those sorts of decisions. Another one, which is interesting too, is that sending candy in our little grab bags, right? Like putting kits and putting candy and not healthy treats, sugary treats. Well, you know what? First of all, there's folks without teeth. They can't chew carrots. And second of all, that's what gives them comfort. So who are we to impose our values on them in their suffering? And so standing up means recognizing who we are, but sometimes also not imposing our values on a situation that we don't understand. And that's a really hard but critically important piece of all of this right now. When encampments are cleared without offering real alternatives, when housing is priced so high that even working families can't afford it, when social services are understaffed or just defunded, we are witnessing a society that has chosen convenience and commodification over compassion. And we won't sit for that. We will not sit for that anymore. We are witnessing institutionalized dehumanization of human beings. We have to continue to witness and love even when it hurts. Call me anytime, cry in the phone at me. I will listen. And I know you guys will. I know you will. Because we know there's another way possible. Throughout history, whenever we have expanded the circle of care, through community land trusts, affordable housing initiatives, partnering with LGBTQ, trans youth, interfaith organizing, sanctuary movements, mutual aid networks, we have proven that justice is not abstract. It's action, it's relationship, it's communication, and it's showing up for one another. That's what it is. It's showing up. So don't stay in your seat is really a spiritual discipline to say, get up and keep going. How do we live into this? Not by doing everything, not by doing the impossible, but by practicing 3 spiritual disciplines, because it always comes down to 3 for me. Pay attention. Pay attention. Isaac Watts wrote, our hearts were made for justice, but our hearts can become dull when not exercised, or dull when we close them down, because we don't want to look at pain and suffering. Pay attention to who is suffering. Pay attention to whose stories are not being told. When the history of slavery is taken off national monuments and out of the Smithsonian, remind yourself about whose history is no longer being told. Pay attention. Pay attention to the parts of the city you don't want to walk through because you're uncomfortable seeing things, seeing people laying on the street. Pay attention to the laws that are being passed quietly to deconstruct our civilization. Pay attention. Number 2, open our hearts, which we do here. We do that. We are good at that. And open our hearts to pay attention to the suffering as well. Our calling is to keep our hearts soft even when the world is hard, to not hate when hate is the norm, Because when we succumb to that, we become part of that hateful cycle, and we perpetuate. To see the people and not the stereotypes behind those people, whether it be the unhoused, whether it be the other side of the political spectrum. See the people. Hear the story. Look beneath what the hate is. Hear the story, not the headline. Remember that compassion is not weakness. It's courage. Being compassionate towards people is hard, but it takes courage. So attention, open hearts, and take it one step at a time. One step at a time. Not all of us can march. Not all of us can organize. We can't all write legislation. We can't all stay up overnight. But every one of us can do at least one thing: a phone call, a donation, make a kit, sign a petition, go to a rally, go with somebody to school if they feel unsafe. We're figuring that one out. We're figuring out how to support some immigrant families tangibly. Pay attention for that. Even if you can't do it, maybe you can do something. Oh my gosh, look at me. Look at my time. Anyways, let me go. Try to cut some of this out here. So at the heart of Unitarian Universalism, it's a simple but radical belief. We show up for one another because we belong to one another. We are not separate people. This is theology of sanctuary. It's theology of accompaniment. It's theology of beloved community. That's who we are in these four walls. When people are detained, we show up. When families are afraid, we show up. When people are cold, we make soup. When the unhoused need warmth, we open our doors. When democracy falters, we stay loud. We can't solve everything, but we can't refuse to abandon it. Years from now, when people look back on this moment in our nation's history, what story will be told about us? Will it be a story of people who stayed in their seats? I can tell you right now, I know it won't be. I know it won't be. People who look down at their laps while others suffered, never for a minute will I see that when I look at your faces. People who decided the problems were too overwhelming to even start to approach, not in this house. It will be the story of people who chose love over fear over and over and over again. Our faith asks us to choose that, to live that second story, and we will. We will. Oh gosh, I got several paragraphs to go. I'm just going to go to the last paragraph here. Wow, that was a long one. Sorry about that. Or maybe I'm talking slower than normal, I don't know. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Here I'm going to do. I was going to end with kind of a physical exercise to keep us energized, and I'm just going to do it. It's going to be a short one, but I want us to get our blood flowing together so that we do actually physically stand up if we can. So my exercise is rising for one another. So as we prepare to leave this place, I invite you into a brief embodiment meditation. So if you're able and willing, please stand. And if standing isn't accessible for you, picture that in your mind. And let's begin with a deep breath. Feel your feet on the ground, holding you up. Stomp a little so you can feel the bottoms of your feet. And notice in hearing the others stomping that you are not standing alone in this place. Now place a hand on your heart. With your hand on your heart, recall someone in the world right now who is suffering today. Think of someone you know who's fearful, maybe detained or displaced or unhoused. Hold them gently in your thoughts and surround them with light. And now take a small step forward, even a teensy one, if you can, a symbolic step towards compassion and justice, towards just showing up. And now turn to your left and your right to see the others around you again, because you're not alone in this right now. We're together in this. Together we stand. Now place both your hands over your hearts. Turn to one person and bow to them in a gesture of solidarity. Feel the promise that none of us will stand isolated in the face of this suffering, because we're all here. And may that be so. There was literally 4 other paragraphs. I don't know when we would have ever left, so amen. Let's have the offering. When we gather together as community, we bring the gifts of ourselves, our hearts and spirits, our time and energy, our talents and skills to support the church in the walls and around the larger community. We bring generosity, giving what we have financially and certainly in our energy and time and talents. Half of what we collect today is going to go to Seeds of Hope to certainly support all that they're doing right now. If you're watching from home, donations may be made through the Give button at the top of the webpage, uuchurchsacobideford.org, or checks can be mailed to UUCSB 60 School Street, Saco. This morning's offering will now be received. And join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. As we release this flame from its faithful service today, we allow the spark in each of us to burn on, to warm our compassion, to fire our delight, to light our paths today, tomorrow, and always. And join me in singing hymn number 121, We'll Build a Land. seated. Friends, the world needs people who are practiced in resistance, people who know how to rise, how to move, but mostly how to stand for love. Let us be those people. Let us practice resistance constantly and steadfastly until it becomes a part of who we are, until the day comes when our hearts hear the call and we simply rise without hesitation because we have practiced it every moment of our lives. Let us rise together. Let us leave here in peace. And Patrick, I think we're going to forego the special music because we're already at 11:15. And we got stuff to do after church, and I forgot some announcements. So now that I've remembered them, I'm just going to tell you. So the service is over. Thank you for coming. Thanks for your patience. I know we're a little wacky today. We have refreshments. We have probably more than we need, which is wonderful. We are making some kits at 5 o'clock today, if the weather's okay. If you can't make it, that's fine, but we have some kits to make. The hope is that the outreach social worker from Biddeford, who wasn't able to come last week, is actually going out to encampments tomorrow in the storm, and she's going to come and take whatever we have with her. So, and I might actually go with her if I get some sleep. But so we're going to do what we can do today for finishing up the kits. And equally important to that is we might need some folks who are willing and able, who have a nice shovel, to come over, stop over during the day and shovel our walkway as you can. So we can get those kits out. We have a contractor, but they probably won't come 4 or 5 times. And if there's 18 inches of snow, we might need a little help. Pete and I are to come over about 1, so don't come at 1. But if you can come in the morning and you can come later in the afternoon, that'd be super helpful. Yeah, so that's all of it. Thank you for coming. Join us for coffee. If you're new here, come and ask us questions. And it's so good to see you guys this morning. Thanks for bearing with us. Go in peace.